Adam Driver and Topher Grace. What's up, guys? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Blackkklansman, the newest film from Spike Lee and starring John David Washington as Ron Stallworth, Adam Driver, Laura Harrier, and Topher Grace. So the basis of this story is Ron Stallworth's character he wants to be a cop. He wants to change the world, basically. He lives in a 70s racist world, KKK. It's, the whole history behind it. So he gets sent to, first he starts as a public records official, and then he gets put into an undercover position because they need someone to infiltrate the Black Panther rally that's happening, in a couple of hours. So he goes there, he finds out that the Black Panthers aren't the problem. The problem is the KKK, who, as we know, did some really nasty stuff. They're a racist group. They say really disgusting things. They've done some disgusting things. But he decides to call up and join, and get a chance to be part of the local charter in Colorado. So the problem is he's a black guy, so there's no way he's going to be able to be part of the KKK. It's a white group. They believe in Aryan blood, so on and so forth. So that's where his partner, Adam Driver's character, comes in, who goes in as Ron Stallworth, as an undercover infiltrator, to kind of infiltrate the KKK, to help bring it down if there's some real issues. So we have this story set up where there's two sides going on. There's Ron Stallworth's character, who's basically undercover, taking pictures, but he's also met this, played by Laura Harrier, she's very strong in what she believes. She's very into what the Black Panthers believe, the Black Lives Matter of that time. So she and Ron Stallworth have a relationship, but she doesn't trust cops, so he has to hide his identity. It's that type of story. So on top of that, we have Adam Driver, who there's a character named Felix that's played by Jasper Pakonen. Sorry if I mispronounced that. He's a Swedish actor, and he's the antithesis of what is wrong with the KKK. He has no problem with killing black people. He has no problem with being extremely racist. He's under the belief that nobody should survive but whites. And he does such a good job with the character, even though the character is disgusting to watch. And that's the whole idea of what Spike Lee is doing. He's telling you about how these groups are the antithesis of what's wrong with America. Even today, because there's stuff at the end, live footage of what happened in Charlottesville, and then you see the older David Duke, who is played by Topher Grace in this movie, and you see what's truly and honestly wrong with America and what's wrong with the world. So the whole story gets set up, and Adam Driver infiltrates the KKK, and then Ron Stallworth gets in conversations as a white guy with David Duke, and the whole story plays out about how the KKK and that local charter, David Duke was under the impression where he wanted to be civil and understanding, but he wanted to shout out his beliefs, and he didn't. He hates whites. And Ron Stallworth has interesting conversations, amusing conversations about exposing who David Duke really is. But the Felix character is really uncomfortable to watch. He's like up there with like Anton Sugar as characters that are just truly evil people. I mean, David Duke is not a good character, but he's not in the field of killing people. He wants to move past that. He just wants to prove his point. Which that's part of the amendment rights. You're allowed to prove your point, allowed to say what you believe, as long as you're not hurting people, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And I am 100% against anything they do, so I just want to make that clear. But so, the whole setup, Ron Stallworth's character, he's like with any Spike Lee movie, he is against all odds, just trying to do everything in his power to take down the KKK. To try to expose who they are, because the police force aren't going to help them. The FBI or the CIA, whoever gives them information, is not going to help them. This is all being thrown under the rug, and it shows at the very end when they tell them to close down the case. But what Spike Lee is doing in this movie is fantastic. Everything about it is fantastic. It's exactly what he believes in. He is very straightforward. He is very uncompromising with his ideals. And I don't always agree with Spike Lee, but when he's able to show us a society, an idea about how blacks are treated, I mean, you look at the stuff in the 70s and you look at the stuff today, and it's almost the same thing. We're a little more equal now, but it's not the same in the aspect, but it is the same because, you know, you look at what's going on in society now, and it's really depressing. It's honestly just really terrible to watch. I don't like it. I hate it. I don't understand why people are like this, and I still don't. The one thing about Spike Lee that is impressive and has always been amazing is he does it with such power, such force, such uncompromising effort. You look at stuff like Malcolm X or He Got Game or Do the Right Thing, which I think is actually the better film, but is, you know, is one of my favorites to watch. And he knows how to write the idea of racism in America, and he knows how to do it cleverly. This movie never gets boring. This movie never lets up. This movie has characters that are trying. Adam Driver is fantastic as always. He's an actor who could take any role and just run with it. Laura Harrier is amazing as a character who's very powerful in what she believes in. John David Washington as Ron Stallworth is fantastic, awesome, amazing. He's fun to watch. He's funny in some parts. He's serious in others. He's trying to protect his race, but trying to bring better for everything else. And Topher Grace, yes, he's playing a very terrible character, but what he's doing with the character is amazing. Jasper, who's playing Felix, is awesome. It's crazy to think that Topher Grace was so disturbed by playing this character that he cut a 2-hour version of The Hobbit just to clear his mind. It really shows. I mean, and then you got on top of that, you got Jordan Peele producing, you got Jason Blum producing. Jordan Peele is starting to show how truly special of a producer, director, actor, writer he really is. And yes, this is a Spike Lee movie, and it's very Spike Lee-ish with the stories that he's telling in the movie. You know, there's like actual true stories. But Jordan Peele producing this just gives it that much more heft. And Jason Blum, who's known for doing things like producing like Get Out, Halloween, you know, all these upcoming movies, Whiplash. I mean, the guy is on fire. He's the best producer in the market right now, and I'm so glad that he gave money to Spike Lee, or whoever gave money to Spike Lee. Spike Lee maybe financed it himself, I don't know. But what Spike Lee is doing here should not be understated. It's one of the best movies of the year. If you want to see something that will blow your mind, it will break your brain, and rebuild you to understand that things are not the way it should be, go see it. So with that, thank you so much, guys, for checking out our review for Blackkklansman. If you like what you see, remember, rate, subscribe, tell us what you think. And as always, also email us at endlapullawoman3@gmail.com. But with that, we'll go ahead and see you guys later. Peace.